What if I told you that the way you apologize, the way you laugh, even the way you love, might not be your personality at all? What if those little quirks you call just me being me are actually scars dressed up as habits? You think you're in control of your actions. You think you've chosen the way you behave. But sometimes, it's your trauma pulling the strings while you clap along, thinking you're the one conducting the orchestra. Tonight, you're going to discover the truth. The things you think are harmless, normal, maybe even endearing, are actually trauma responses in disguise. And the last one? It's the most common. The one you'll swear doesn't apply to you, until you realize it does. Let's start. You ever notice how often you say, sorry? Not just when you've done something wrong. Not just when you accidentally bump into someone. You apologize for existing, for asking questions, for taking up space. Sorry, can I just... Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. Sorry, sorry, sorry. It sounds polite, huh, right? It sounds humble. But here's the dark truth. It's survival. That constant apologizing was born when staying small, quiet, and invisible kept you safe. It's not manners, it's a shield. And the scariest part? You've apologized so often. You don't even notice anymore. But maybe you're not the apologizer. Maybe you're the opposite. The one who needs control. You plan every detail, manage every situation, micromanage everyone around you. Because if things slip even slightly, your world feels like it's crumbling. Control feels powerful, but deep down it's a reaction to powerlessness. A childhood where chaos reigned, where unpredictability meant pain, and where control was the only way to feel safe. You don't love being organized. You're not just a perfectionist. You're gripping the wheel because the alternative is terrifying. And if you let go, you fear everything might collapse. Now let's talk about your sense of humor. Ever notice how you laugh at your own pain? Make sarcastic jokes about the worst things that happen to you. You tell yourself it's just dark humor. It's your way of coping. It makes you fun at parties. But the truth? That humor is armor. If you laugh at your trauma first, no one else can use it against you. If you reduce your pain to a punchline, it feels smaller, more manageable. Except it isn't. It's still there, lurking behind the joke. Every laugh is a scar, pretending to be a smile. And maybe that's why you can't stop joking. Because silence feels like admitting it was never funny at all. Of course, maybe your trauma response doesn't look like laughter. Maybe it looks like overthinking. The endless spirals in your head that never stop spinning. You replay conversations. You analyze facial expressions. You plan 10 different scenarios before you even step into a room. People say you're thoughtful or cautious, but the truth is darker. Overthinking is hypervigilance. It's your brain staying awake at night, scanning for danger long after the danger is gone. It's a mind trained to never relax. Because the last time it did, something bad happened. You're not just thinking, you're surviving. And then there's the one that hides in plain sight. People-pleasing. You call it kindness. You call it being easygoing. But let's be honest. You bend over backwards to make sure nobody's upset, even if it costs you your own peace. You swallow your opinions, silence your needs, and smile when you want to scream. Why? Because once upon a time, saying no wasn't safe. Disagreement meant punishment, rejection, or abandonment. So you learned the art of disappearing inside yourself, of molding into whatever made others happy. People think you're too nice. They don't realize you're too terrified. But what if you're not the pleaser? What if you're the punt runner? Avoidance. You ghost people, you walk away before they can hurt you, you distract yourself with endless scrolling, binge-watching, staying busy so you never have to sit still. You call it not having time. But the truth? You're running. Running from memories, from intimacy, from silence that might force you to feel what you've buried. Avoidance isn't laziness. It's fear disguised as freedom. And it works until the loneliness catches up. And finally, the one I promised, the most common trauma response of all, dissociation. You know that feeling when you're in the middle of a conversation, but it's like you're not really there? When hours pass and you can't remember what you did? When life feels like a movie you're watching instead of something you're living? Dissociation is your brain's emergency exit. It's how you survived when the pain was too much to handle. So you left. You detached. You floated somewhere safer. And maybe you never really came back. You call it zoning out, daydreaming, being forgetful. But the truth? It's you escaping reality, because reality once tried to destroy you. Now here's the twist. All of these, apologizing, controlling, joking, overthinking, pleasing, running, dissociating, they masquerade as personality traits. They look harmless, normal, maybe even admirable. But they're not who you are. They're who you had to become. They're the masks you wear so no one sees the wounds underneath. And maybe right now you're wondering, if these are trauma responses, then who am I without them? That's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes we build our entire identity out of survival. We call it personality. But take away the trauma. And what's left? The scariest part isn't that you have these responses. The scariest part is how invisible they've become. You've lived with them so long, you mistake them for yourself. But you are not your trauma. You're just carrying its fingerprints on your skin. Its whispers in your thoughts. Its shadows in your habits. So now, the question is, which of these habits did you recognize in yourself? Which mask have you been wearing so long? You forgot it was even there? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it.